So hi everybody. The topic for today's discussion will be measures. Okay. Um, let's just directly start with it. And there are actually two types of measures in Power BI. First is the implicit measures, and second is the explicit measure. Now I'll show you what exactly I mean by implicit measure. Okay. Explicit measures are the measures which are actually called as measures, which we all in general know. Okay. But implicit measures, what are they? So let's go back to our report, Power BI report, where we have the table sales order header. Okay. In this, if you see, there are certain columns with a summation sign just before them. If you see over here, there are a lot of such columns over here. Now, this summation sign, if you see over here, which is the summarization, and you can see that inside the summarization, there are a lot of summarizations which we can achieve, which is the sum, the average, minimum, maximum. Okay. And there is don't summarize also. What this actually tells you is that if you use a visual, okay, supposedly let's take a table visual for more better understanding. So if you take a table visual and if you put let's say the account number and you put maybe the tax amount, let's put the tax amount below it. Now if you see over here, this tax amount that you're seeing for the account number is a sum of whatever all the times this account number has been doing transactions. Okay, so we have got the sum over here. If in case, okay, in case I remove this summarizations, let's remove the summarization and give as don't summarize. When I give as don't summarize, see what has happened is it has taken the account multiple number of times. How many number of times the transaction has happened, that many number of times. So this means that this is kind of an automatic thing which is happening, which Power BI has given us, that if I put in the sum, I will directly get the sum over here in the visualization. These are called as implicit measures. You can also change it to others. Okay, you can change it to average. So the average will be taken, minimum, maximum. Okay, all these you can change, or even the count. Now if you ask me, is the summarization only available, okay, is these measures are only available for numeric columns? So no, not just numeric columns, they are actually available for other text column also, but for text columns it will be a little different. Maybe it will be first or last, something like that. So this is called as the implicit measures, automatically available to be used. So directly in the visual, the column will be summarized according to the summarization that you choose over here. Now if implicit measures are such easy to use, and they include a lot of things like sum, average, minimum, maximum, why do we actually need something else? So there are little drawbacks, not exactly drawbacks, it's kind of a thing which comes with it, that if I share this report with somebody, okay, they can actually change it on the spot. Okay, if the report author, if he doesn't know that how actually the tax amount should be, whether it should be a sum or whether it should be average, minimum, they can change it. Okay, and they may make it meaningless. So that is one advantage. And the second major advantage is that these are only for simple calculations, very simple calculations. But of course, in the real world, nothing will be simple. So we have to go for something called as explicit measures, which are the actual measures that we use day in and day out with Power BI. Now after implicit measures, let's go for explicit measures. Okay, explicit measures are the actual measures that we create. Okay, now I will tell you that from where exactly we need to create a measure. Either you can go and click on the three dots that are besides the table. Let's do it again. I was, I think, a little faster. This is sales order header. These are the three dots, more options. Click on them and you will get a new measure over here. Or under modeling, you also have an option of creating the new measure. Okay, so now let's create our first measure. Okay, from here, new measure. Okay, let's give it the name as total sales, because I am going to add up every column of the sales that is present over in my data. Now the first thing that I have is freight. Okay, so let's take the sum, because of course I need to summarize these columns and then add them together. So sum of freight. Okay, then again we will take sum of, I think, let's go down and see what column is there. Tax amount and subtotal. Yes, so sum of first tax amount, and then we have sum of subtotal. Okay, close this up. I think we are good to go. Okay, so we have our measure called as total sales. Now if we want to see how this measure actually works, let's put it in some visual and see. So if I remove this sum of this thing and put the total sales, so this account numbers total sales addition of all these three columns will be this. Now over here we can think about one more measure, and that measure is with the sales order ID. So if you look at the sales order ID, let's go in the data, okay, and see the sales order ID. Now the sales order ID represents over here the number of times the sales transaction has happened, and it has been given an order ID. Now what we can do over here is that we can take a count of the distinct order IDs. Okay, so this can be one more measure that we can build up over here. So let's do that. So let's start. Maybe you can also work with me and make this measure in your data. So let's give the measure a name. Sales order ID. So now we have something called as distinct count and distinct also. Okay, so I am going to select distinct count over here, and let's read the definition of distinct count. Counts the number of distinct values in a column. Okay, and now let's read the definition of distinct. Returns a one column table that contains distinct values in a column. Okay, so distinct is actually returning you a table with distinct values of that column, but we do not want a table. I want the count. Okay, so that's why I'm using distinct count. I want a simple count of distinct values of that particular column. So I am going to select our sales, what is the name? I think it is sales ID or sales order ID. Yeah, sales order ID. This is the one, and close this up. And this is now one more measure of ours. Okay, sales order ID, or you can name it as distinct order ID, how much you want. Okay, and now let's place it over here. See, it is telling us that for this particular account number, which is having so much of total sales, the number of sales that actually happened, number of transactions that actually happened were 4. And I think I should change the name of this so that it will be better. This thing, instead of sales order ID, I should actually write the count of sales. Okay, count of sales, something like that. So these many counts of sales actually happened for that particular account number. Okay, this is what it is signifying. See what has happened. Now we have two measures over here. The first measure is giving you the total sales, and the second measure is giving you the total count of sales that has happened for that particular account number. So do you understand what we can actually derive from these two things? We can actually derive the average of sales for the particular account. Okay, so this average we can derive by dividing the total sales by count sales, and this can happen through a measure again. Okay, so let's go and let's create one more measure, and we will name it as, I think, average sales per account. Average sales per account, and here we will be dividing. So divide numerator with total sales. We will be dividing total sales by your count of sales. So see, it is directly giving me that measure. Okay, we don't have an alternate result, so we will just close off the brackets and we will commit or say okay. And now let's put this measure also again in our table. Average sales. So if you see, the average sales for that particular account number is this, that is given over here. So do you understand what we can do with measures? I mean, this is just a, not even a trailer. It's just an introduction for y'all, a gateway for y'all to understand that measures are a very, very big topic. This is just a basic thing that I have shown over here. Also, one more thing, that if I click on average sales, this measure, and if you see that this measure is actually using two other measures that I have created earlier, and this is called as a complex measure or a compound measure. Okay, which, because it is actually referencing two other measures that are already present. And this is why explicit measures actually come into picture, because complex handling has to be done in many of the Power BI reports, and it is very, very helpful. Now, after our introduction with implicit and explicit measures, and believe me, this is just an introduction. After these, the videos will have more of measures and more of exactly the DAX expressions and functions that we will be using to create the measures. Okay, so this is just an introduction video for measures to get everybody acquainted and on the same page as everyone else. So let me show you what exactly a quick measure is, because that is what is pending. Okay, if we have implicit measures and explicit, then what is exactly quick measures? So the thing that I have done over here, which I have created as a compound measure, okay, I'll take this example only. First, I will show you where you will get the quick measure. So in the measure tools, if you see over here, there is something called as quick measure. And when you click on the quick measure, you will get lots and lots of options. So let us click on the quick measure, and actually you can use Copilot also for your queries for DAX, and there has to be another session for it. I cannot include it in the same video. So let's just concentrate on the quick measure version of it and come down. Okay, so select a calculation to create a measure, and if you actually go inside, there are and so many calculations which you can actually do on the fly. Aggregation per category, if you want an aggregate of the tax amount per category of maybe or by order date category or by account number category, you can do that. Variance, max, min, even filters, filtered value, difference from the filtered value, time intelligence functions. Okay, you can have a month over month change. So there are multiple things you can actually go and get data and check on your own, because it can be very difficult to go through each and everything. Let's come over here, mathematical operations. Let's click on division. Let's take our numerator that we selected for our manual measure or explicit measure also. Same thing we will select over here, and I will show you how much easy it is to create. So first is your total sales. Put your total sales, and then again you can put over here your count sales. Okay, and then just add. You don't have to write anything. You don't have to write a query, nothing. Your query is actually created over here directly. And now if you just minimize this and go back to your table, you will see that this is the measure that is created by Power BI for you. Okay, total sales divided by count sales. It gives a name also better than what I have given. But yes, this is what it is. This is a quick measure. On the fly, very quickly, you can create these measures. Okay, in just maybe 30 seconds. This is the same thing. If I input it in this table right now, it actually should give me the same exact value that what my measure has given. So let me actually quickly put it just below this, and yes, it is given me the same value. Okay, total sales divided, so it is giving me the same value. So this was all about measures, implicit, explicit and quick measures. In the next video, I will try and show you the difference between sum and sumx, and count and countx, because this is also very important. These are called as iterative functions. So see you then, see you in my next video, and we will take it from there on. Thanks a lot and keep learning.